This interview is brought to you by Mines and Money in association with Red Cloud. Hello, I'm Chloe Singer-Johnston from Mines and Money, and I'm joined today by Sarah Armstrong-Montoya, the President and Chief Executive Officer of Cordoba Minerals, and Mark Gibson. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Chloe.
Yep.
Firstly, would you like to tell us a little bit about Cordoba Minerals for those that are watching that are not so familiar with your company?
Sure. Cordoba Minerals is a junior that is listed on both the TSXV and the OTC. We are in the development phase at the moment, so we're a junior exploration company, but we're currently going through the licensing phase. We have two projects, one in Colombia, in South America, the Alacran project, and we've just been working our way through for the last 18 months on a feasibility study and the second phase of our licensing, which is an environmental impact assessment study to enable us to build and construct the mine here in Colombia. That is a copper, gold and silver project, 70% copper, 27% gold, and about a 3% silver credit. And we do have a second project in Arizona, which is an earlier stage, also copper exploration project.
Thank you. And you talked about the Alacran project. Could you talk a bit more about the latest drilling results and the next steps?
Sure. So we've just completed a drilling program. I'll pass it over to Mark Gibson. He's our Chief Operating Officer and much better technically than I am. So I'll pass it over to him to go into a little bit of detail on that.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah. So, Chloe, we've been doing a 44,000 meter drilling campaign to build on the PFS resource and turn that into a reserve that the feasibility study can be based on. The great news is that all of that drilling results has essentially confirmed what we knew was there, that where we've been predicting high grade, we found high grade. Where we saw lower grades, we've been predicting them. So the resource model from the PFS is holding up. And that resource historically was 102 million tonnes at about an average grade of 0.65 copper equivalent. So all sitting at surface, accessible by early mining, very low strip ratio, about a 1-to-1 strip ratio, a 1.1-to-1 strip ratio over the life of mine. And the PFS anticipated about a $435 million capital spend and a $450 million NPV at 8%. Those were using fairly conservative metal values of $3.50 copper and $16.50 gold.
Thank you so much, Mark. That's very interesting. What are your key timelines and opportunities we can expect to see from Cordoba over the next 6 to 18 months?
Sure. So as we mentioned, we are working on the feasibility study at the moment, simultaneously with the environmental impact assessment study, and we anticipate completing those by the year end. We also anticipate in around August or September to have a resource update for the market. And then this will be followed by the EIA, and the feasibility study will be followed by detailed engineering design and aiming towards the commencement of construction by the end of 2024.
Thank you. Looking at your website, ESG seems to be very important to you. Could you tell us about what training and opportunities you're providing for your local communities?
Sure. Great point there. Without the local communities, there is essentially no project. We have 12 communities within the area of interest of the project, and we work closely with all of them on a day-to-day basis. We have a mobile office that goes between all of the communities so that they can have constant communication and be informed of what's going on with the company. In addition to that, we have programmed up with SENA, which is a local government educational training institution. We've now upskilled or trained around 350 people, but we are working towards being able to train everybody who wants the opportunity of working with the mine and from the construction phase. During our local drilling campaign that we just had now, we contracted around 800 people to complete those 44,000 meters of drilling that Mark mentioned. We also have programs for formalization or legalization of artisanal miners. And we've benefited about 100 people to date under that program. We also have, we support a local hospital and very basic care and conditions, but that does support the 12 communities, things like malaria, COVID. We have a nurse there every day that supports all of the communities, some infrastructure and also educational programs.
That sounds fantastic. And who are your key investors and shareholders?
Sure. So at 63%, we do have Ivanhoe Electric as our major shareholder, which is led and founded by Robert Friedland, who needs no introduction here. And then we also have our strategic Chinese partners. So that is JCHX. They have a 19.9% interest at the public company. But also importantly, we just announced on the 8th of May, we closed a deal with them at the project level for a $100 million investment into the Alacran project. So that gives them 50% of the Alacran project, and that funding should take us through to the start of construction.
Great. And you personally have been at Cordoba for 7 years. What keeps you there, and who are your key team members?
So I've actually been with the group for over a decade, and came to Cordoba, as you said, about 7 years ago. I think we have very exciting opportunities here. I think less than 1% of Colombia has been explored due to the 40 years of conflict. So there's huge potential for us there. Alacran's just sort of the starting point for us. We've looked up a huge exploration program, and the idea is to continue exploring there. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for the company, a lot of opportunity in Colombia. We obviously have our second project in Arizona that I mentioned. Key team members, Mark, that's here. He's also been with the group for over a decade, and at Cordoba the same amount of time as me. So extremely important for us. And we also have Glenn Kuntz, who was external previously, and we've brought him into the group as well, and who's been assisting with all of our technical studies from the preliminary economic assessment study.
Thank you. And then lastly, what do you think makes your company different to others as an interesting investment opportunity for those that may be listening in?
Sure. We are the only company in the country, in Colombia, that has the possibility of going into production during this government. So I think with a huge focus on transitional energy at the moment and copper, I think that's a great opportunity, as well as our project in Arizona that we look forward to advancing through to the next stages and taking our ownership from a 51% interest up to 70%.
Well, thank you so much, Mark and Sarah, for your time today. It's been great to hear all of your news and opportunities. For those that would like to find out more, please head to cordobaminerals.com. This interview was brought to you by Mines and Money in association with Red Cloud. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Resourcing tomorrow, accelerating the energy transition. 100 plus countries represented. And together with government representatives, mining and energy professionals, ESG experts, financial and professional services, industry associations, investors, and consultants, Resourcing Tomorrow will address critical mineral supply, the energy transition, environmental resilience, the circular economy, ESG, our future workforce, AI automation and machine learning, digitalization, mineral processing and plant optimization, exploration and development projects. Have your say in the future of our industry. Join us for Resourcing Tomorrow from 28 to 30 November 2023. Register today